So, in less than 1 month, we are getting the full on unveiling about the Nintendo Switch 2, and lots of people's hopes and dreams about the system are starting to come to light. I've seen lots of people making wish list videos for the Nintendo Switch 2, but those videos don't really matter because they're not mine. I haven't made one of these yet in the year of 2025. And I feel like my main thing with the Switch 2 is going to be something that is very different than what other people think about the system. I have some minor things that we'll discuss that are important, but I don't think they're the big most main thing when it comes to what the Nintendo Switch 2 needs to be and what the Nintendo Switch 2 needs to do. So I want to take you on a journey through my mind with this system and talk about what I think is the biggest thing the Nintendo Switch 2 needs in order to make a lot of people happy, myself primarily though. But before we get into all of that goodness, I want to give a huge thank you to today's video sponsor. Life is full of very many questions, but one question I feel like everyone asks themselves every day is just where in this vast world is Carmen Sandiego? Well, I found her, and she's back on March 4th on your favorite console or PC with a brand new adventure that has quite a big twist. This time, you control Carmen Sandiego. Step into a dynamic 3D world where Carmen Sandiego comes to life like never before, combining nostalgia with a fresh, modern experience. The game blends detective-style gameplay with cutting-edge gadgets, exciting puzzles, strategic challenges, and immersive educational exploration. Whether you are a longtime fan of the series or discovering the franchise for the first time, the game delivers fun, adventure, and learning for everyone. Check out the link in the description box down below to get more information on Carmen Sandiego's newest adventure, and a huge thank you to GameLaw for sponsoring today's video. Now, like I said, I had some minor things that may be major things for other people when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 and what I would like to see from it. So we're going to talk about those before we get into the real meat and potatoes topic. I do hope that there is that sort of leap, when it comes to technology. I'm not even necessarily saying resolution should be a huge thing because really a lot of Switch games ran at 900p and higher. And I get it, 4K does look better, but with the stronger system on a chip for the Nintendo Switch 2, I feel like that's somewhat of a guarantee that like 1080p and possibly even 4K will be available in these Nintendo Switch 2 games comparative to the Nintendo Switch 1. Art style is always very important when it comes to Nintendo's first party games, and I think with a bump in a resolution increase, you can really start to see the finer details in a lot of these games and not have to worry about some of the blurry aspects of them. You gotta remember, with the Switch 1 in handheld mode, some of those games, even first party games, did get a little bit crusty. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a blurry mess in handheld mode for the original Nintendo Switch, and I'm hopeful that things like that will be completely avoided by Nintendo this time around by being able to utilize the stronger system hardware and of course the DLSS technology. But really, even more so than just resolution, I'm more focused on performance. I think performance and frame rate is more important than things like resolutions and outputs and stuff like that. I would rather play a 720p 60 frame per second game than play a 1080p, 25 frame per second game because I feel like your eyes can kind of adjust a little bit to it. And obviously, neither of those are ideal. I want to see 1080p be the baseline for the vast majority of Nintendo Switch 2 games. But a game that feels better in terms of the performance, in terms of the frame rate, to me, is more important than just, a 4K image, but it runs at 15 frames per second. I do think that they're going to have to find a delicate balance, especially when it comes to third-party games, because I think a lot of bigger third-party titles are indeed going to come to the system. I have to imagine that a lot of the Final Fantasy games, such as Final Fantasy VII Remake and potentially even Rebirth, are going to come over because Squaresoft, or Square Enix, I should say, God, it's not 1990 anymore. Square Enix, they want to make some more money. And I feel like those games would definitely find a home on the Nintendo Switch 2. Those are games that have been rumored. And, one of those games was a PlayStation 4 game. Obviously, Rebirth was a PlayStation 5 only game, but with some concessions being made, I think you could get a pretty quality image. But I just hope, as far as Nintendo first party games go, that frame rate is a focus and 1080p is a baseline. If you got to go to 900 when in handheld mode, whatever. That's not a big deal. But I don't want to see no 360 or 380p at times, like we saw with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch 1 in handheld mode. The next thing is, of course, something that I've been preaching about for a very long time, and that is Nintendo Switch Online. I need this to be completely revamped as far as the eShop and all of that is concerned. It is an absolute nightmare to scroll through the eShop to find games to purchase because it is so slow. It is so laggy. There is nothing tailor suited to your experience with the eShop on the Nintendo Switch. And I feel like that also extends into Nintendo Switch Online with the lack of features, a need for a smartphone to do things. Look, you wanted to do things kind of the Nintendo way with the Nintendo Switch when it came to the online stuff, and people didn't like it. I feel like people would be more satisfied with Nintendo Switch Online in all aspects and encompassing aspects of it if there was just a built-in voice chat friend messenger system. If the Nintendo Switch 2 eShop runs at a good frame rate, going kind of back to that frame rate, there's no lag, give me recommendations based on previous games, allow me more ways to explore and find new games that are games that I would be potentially interested in based on my previous purchases. It's a very simple thing to program into it, and I'm not exactly sure why it just kind of got completely overlooked with the original Nintendo Switch. Overhaul that eShop, burn it down, build it up from the ground up, add some additional features to Nintendo Switch Online when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 as well. And once again, people will be very satisfied because there are rumors of a price increase coming to it. But like I said, I had a few things to sort of supplement what the main thing is, because my main thing is going to be very different than I feel like a lot of people's main thing is going to be. But I feel like it's the most simple thing, especially when I look at the video game industry as it stands right now in 2025. The main thing the Nintendo Switch 2 needs to be and needs to do is be fun. Bring some fun back into gaming. Bring some excitement back into gaming. This console generation, it's been a boring console generation of remakes and remasters and, stuff from the previous system that you could play on the current system, getting a new version with minor upgrades to it and stuff like that. Games getting delayed and canceled. Games that people were looking forward to. Studio closures. It just shows how a lot of these Western companies operate. And Nintendo, for better or worse, I do give them some, heat from time to time when it comes to being so just dedicatedly focused in Japan when, really the West is where Nintendo makes most of their money. I think this is actually a positive thing and something that could bring some fun and excitement back into gaming. Not having to worry about super elongated life cycles. Not having to worry about games getting showcased and games getting teased and talked about, and then those games getting canceled. Games coming out at a decent clip. Every couple of months, you get a brand new first-party game, something to build up hype to it. The events, the showcases, the directs, the fun back into gaming, because that's what Nintendo does best. At the end of the day, you could say whatever you want about Nintendo. They still make very fun games. And I want that fun to be encompassing with the Nintendo Switch 2. I know what you're saying. Well, RGT, you said you didn't care about the name of it. You thought it was a good idea, but that's not very fun. The system itself doesn't look very fun. Fun doesn't come from a gimmick. Fun doesn't come from a fancy color scheme or a fancy name. Fun comes down to the experiences that you get with the system, the moments that you get with the system, the games that you get with the system. And love them or hate them, Nintendo always prioritizes that fun aspect. You might not love some of the games that they do. You might think that they're somewhat low effort. You might think that, you know, this, that, and the other, you know, another company couldn't get away with doing something like Everybody 1-2 Switch. And maybe you're right. You know, maybe you are right. But for every bad game, you know, there's 5 or 6 just really fun games. So that's the most important thing to me. I want the Nintendo Switch 2 to bring fun back into gaming, to bring good discussions back into gaming, to not be focused on the next delay or cancellation or studio closure as the video game industry crumbles all around us. They can rise up like a phoenix and really just bring some fun back into things, man. But those are my thoughts. And your thoughts may differ, and that's cool. You could go make a video on your YouTube channel. Maybe I'll watch it. Honestly, I probably won't. I really don't watch much content that's kind of similar to mine because it's just like, it's just another person giving their opinion and it's not going to sway my opinion. So it's like, why am I going to watch that? I'll watch like retro content and like dogs, you know, funny dogs. I like watching funny dogs. But let me know in the comment section down below, what are your priorities with the Nintendo Switch 2? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Huge thank you to Carmen Sandiego for sponsoring today's video. Definitely a cool moment, like, because I was obsessed with the show as a child, so like very full circle for me. Make sure you guys check out the link in the description box down below or in the pinned comment to get more information on Carmen Sandiego, available today, March 4th, on all platforms and PC. And as always, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.